Lee, Tunchi Lee, Young Angel, Young Lion, man. Y'all boys get on the track with Onika Mirage and y'all still dying, man. What's up? We in this bitch. This ain't gonna be the first time that I do numbers on 2 crutches. Seen more plaques than 2 brushes. Until I'm at the pearly white gates, I gotta move something, do something. All meetings happen in person, so they can't prove nothing. No, they ain't.
Let's get ready to rumble!
What's going on, world? It's your boy Ryan Fraser, Boxing Talk Up North, and I'm back with another one. And boy, Daniel Dubois has shaken up the boxing world, definitely shaking up the heavyweight division and giving us something to think about. You know, he spoiled the party, man. And it was a great event in general, but Daniel Dubois stole the show. And I'm so happy for him, man. I didn't pick him winning, but if there was a prop bet I should have took, was the one that I definitely said was going to happen early in the fight. I thought AJ was going to go down early, and then I thought AJ was going to try to take the safe route and get on the bicycle and move around the ring, but that is not what happened. AJ actually tried to go after Dubois, and I think that cost him the fight, man. I think literally he went out on the shield, and I don't know, but let's talk about it, man. Shout out to Daniel Dubois. He spoils the big potential matchup between Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. Um, it's been rough for AJ and Fury here for the last bit, and it's got me thinking, like, is this a new era we're looking at? You know, is Daniel Dubois bringing in a new era of heavyweights? You know, next month on that October 12th card, we got 2 young heavyweights, Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark, in their rematch. Those 2 guys are guys who can be top of the level of the heavyweight division as well. So Daniel Dubois, is he leading in a new era of heavyweights now? Because Dubois is young. He's very young. So I'm happy for Dubois. He did what he had to do. He went into enemy territory. You know, he had 90,000 fans against him. You know, he probably came in there with a real small fan base, but he left there with a bunch of fans now who are gonna love what he does and how he goes about his fighting game. Because, man, Daniel Dubois is exciting at the end of the day. He's a power puncher, man. And we love to see big punchers. So shout out to Daniel Dubois, his whole team. They got good things going on over at Queensberry. They've really put their foot on Eddie Hearn by just cleaning up his entire roster, almost at 5v5, and now this, man. So this is just one of those things, bro. Like, shout out to Daniel Dubois. He's definitely in the mix for some big fights. Obviously, the Usyk rematch is on the table. You got to think if Usyk can beat Fury again, or if Fury wins, I'm sure they'll have a trilogy. But Daniel Dubois has positioned himself for the biggest fights in heavyweight boxing right now. And he did that by beating the top dog, Anthony Joshua. Well, I shouldn't say top dog, but one of the top dogs in the game right now. And he did it in an impressive fashion. Like, I didn't give Anthony Joshua one single round of that fight, man. Like, he had moments, yes, but he didn't win a single round. Not at all, man. Like, Daniel Dubois just outclassed him from the start.
Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah.
And yo, that's what it was, man. It was a one-side ass kicking, and it is what it.
This kid don't got a chance in hell.
Daniel Dubois has proved that he is the best heavyweight now in the UK. You know, you look at Fury, he's coming off a loss. Joshua also coming off a loss now. So they both have losses. I know a lot of people have been flirting around with the whole AJ and Wilder. Now it's time for that fight. You know, both dudes were knocked out in their last fight. So, like, I just don't understand how that fight will have a lot of buzz, knowing that both of these guys just got stopped in their last fight. Unless you're selling it as, you know, this is a fight that should have happened probably 5 years ago. I think it's overdue. I think it's done, man. I don't think Deontay Wilder is the Wilder we thought he was. And you know, Anthony Joshua, he didn't look very good in that fight at all. Like, from the start, to the end of the fight, he did not look good, man. And this is just one of those things where uh he's got to go back to the drawing board and really really figure it out because it was a brutal knockdown. I never seen Anthony Joshua like that ever. So it's one of those things. This is worse than the Ruiz fight. I know the Ruiz was a big underdog also, but this is worse because he couldn't get up, man. He tried to get up, legs were gone, so he was really knocked out, like he was concussed. In the Ruiz fight, I think it was just he quit, like mentally. This is a physical thing. So now if he's being hit or punched at, he may have flashbacks of this Dubois memory, and this could really hinder AJ moving forward. But they said they want to exercise the rematch, and I get it, man. You got a lot of emotions going on. The building's filled with fans. You don't want to say that you don't want the rematch, so you're gonna say that you do want the rematch. That's just the right thing to say. That's probably the thing to say in that moment for your fan base. But I do think they gotta sit down. They gotta assess the way they move forward with this, man, because Anthony Joshua, he's done a lot for the sport. He's done a lot for British boxing in particular. He's made Eddie Hearn a boatload of money. So Eddie Hearn better take care of him now and make sure that he makes the right business decision for his life, man, for health. Anthony Joshua, I heard he owns like part stake in the zone with his deal. So we know that he makes way more money than what's projected on his checks, man, because he's getting all that percentage money. But shout out to AJ, man. I mean, he's always been a staple in this heavyweight game for the last like 10 years. We've been talking about him. So I mean, he's put his dues in. He's done a lot for the sport. But I don't know. I don't think he's ready to retire. I don't think he should retire. I just think he needs to get back in the ring with the right opponents and really needs to work on his defense because there was no resistance. Like there was no like whatever he was trying to do with Dubois ran right through him pretty much. Like it didn't look like a tough fight for Dubois. It looked pretty easy actually. Like I said, AJ had his moments, but I thought he would have used the ring a little bit better. I thought he would have used his legs more, and I thought he would that's how he was gonna make Dubois gas out and then take advantage of him down the back half of the fight. But it didn't even get past 5, man. Didn't even get past 5. So yeah, 90,000 fans. The stars were out. It was great scenery, man. Shout out to the UK. They always do a good job of putting on events, really, and everybody there is there to have a good time. There's really no politics with the UK fans, man. I'm sure they were excited for Dubois. I'm pretty sure, Obviously there's some people in there, probably a lot of people who lost money, but it was a great event as a whole, and it was definitely geared for UK boxing, which is even better for those fans out there. But 90,000 fans, I believe they set some records, and I know they beat out Carl Froch's last record. So that's big for boxing. Anytime you can break records with the sport and with a guy like Anthony Joshua, it's showing everybody else in the game that boxing is doing well. And 90,000 fans, bro. Like I'm still trying to think about how big that stadium must be, but to fill it up, and I think the total number was like 96 or something like that. And to do that, for a boxing event, and man, shout out to Turkey Al Sheikh for bringing these big Rida season events out to the world. Obviously they started off just being in Saudi Arabia, but now he's starting to venture out into the America markets. Now the UK market. He's hinted at possibly China and Africa. Like this is big for boxing, man. To make it the global sport that it needs to be, you're gonna get the influence of the world soon here. And shout out to Turkey Al Sheikh and his team. I don't know who they are, but they have a great vision for what's going on in boxing and for him. And he's doing a great job of it. Like he's definitely putting these mega events together. And I know for some people it's a bit much because a boxing event in itself is long. So now that he's adding these big artists to do performances, some people are not fans of it. But I look at it like the people that are buying the tickets, they're getting their money's worth. There's a lot of laps between fights and stuff like that. There's a lot of downtime in boxing. And it seems like Turkey Al Sheikh's pretty much trying to erase that. He's trying to add filler with it. And for us, the fans who are watching on the pay-per-views, it's not really satisfying for us because the event is going longer than it should be. But at the same time, just imagine if you paid a ticket to go there, you probably would want to make sure that you're paying your money's worth to be at an event, not to just be at a fight. You want to experience everything as a whole. So I think he's doing a great job of that. I think he's doing a great job. But the pay-per-view, man, I know it's $20 pay-per-view. It was available through pay-per-view.com, so you don't need a DAZN subscription to buy it, which was nice for the fans who do not have DAZN. They could have bought it for $20. A fight of this magnitude, which is possibly in the fight of the year realm. I'm not saying it's going to be there, but it's there somewhere. Um, it just looks like one of those type of those type of pay-per-views where if it does successful, I think Turkey Al Sheikh here is setting the new standard. And yeah, shout out to my pops, Dwight Fraser. He says Anthony Joshua always takes responsibility and never makes excuses. He looked not focused and still has lots to offer. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, he didn't look very good in the start of the fight. I think he was surprised by Dubois. Like Dubois looked like he was ready to go off the jump. I was worried about Dubois being starstruck from 90,000 people, being in that stadium, but there was no jitters from Dubois. He looked like he was more ready than Anthony Joshua, actually. If I'm gonna be honest, he looked like he was the more focused fighter. And Frank Warren had said it all week. He said there's no pressure on Dubois. He said all the pressure is on Anthony Joshua, and you gotta look at that now and think, hey, maybe he was right, man. Maybe Dubois just had to go out there and just swing for the fences. It was Anthony Joshua who was gonna have to make the fight, a little bit better on his side, and that's clearly not what happened. He got behind the 8 ball real early. But yeah, I hope the event does well with the pay-per-view buys at $20 because if it does, then that'll be the new standard, man. This event was $20 pay-per-view. So moving forward, if somebody's doing $60 and $80 pay-per-views, the names and the card itself has to outdo this card because this card's only $20 and you are getting one of the best in the sport, Anthony Joshua. You know, it just don't get any better than that. So shout out to Turkey Al Sheikh for trying to make that adjustment to the game and basically reset the market, man, because $80 pay-per-views every month, and sometimes we have two big fights in a month. That's $160. Uh, you know, multiply that by 10, man, or even 12. Like you're spending a lot of money on pay-per-views if you're a boxing fan who watches all the fights. So I'm somebody who I don't watch all the fights, but I like my favorite fighters and I do watch them. So $20 is a huge difference compared to paying $90. And I think it was Manny Pacquiao and Floyd was $100 pay-per-view. Like those are just it's crazy numbers. I'm glad we're not in that era anymore. The market has changed because of the fan base. Inflation is up right now, so people are just not paying it, and the promoters have seen the numbers dip drastically, and they understood that streaming was something that they had to get into, which is they're doing now, streaming. But now even further, like these pay-per-view events, they have to lower the market. The market's resetting, the market's changing, and they're adapting with it. And Turkey Al Sheikh, he's done a great job since he's been here in boxing, and it sounds like he's gonna be back in Dana White in boxing as well, which will help Dana White, all considering his situation with the UFC. He can't bring that same model over to boxing. You got to pay these guys over here, or they just won't fight for you. That's just what it is. And yeah, Friday night was a very good fight. I didn't get to talk about it yet. Yami Munguia versus Eric Baziyan out of Quebec, Canada. Shout out to Eric. I think he's from Romania, but definitely represents Quebec. Started his pro career with Mark Ramsey. Shout out to Mark Ramsey. They had a great game plan going into this fight. They didn't get the win, but I thought Eric definitely exposed Jaime Munguia. He had a lot of success in that fight early. I actually thought Eric was up on the scorecards, even though they weren't giving him the benefit of the doubt. They weren't. But I thought he was doing a tremendous job with his jab, and you can just see it disrupted the entire rhythm of Munguia. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to get around the jab. And it looked like Eric Morales was kind of like losing it in the corner, like he was frustrated with Munguia, trying to tell him how to get him in on the inside of that jab. But it's a long fight, man. I think it was a 12 rounder fight, and Eric's only been doing tens, and I think he was stopped in the 10th round, and it was tough down the stretch for him, man. Munguia is a young guy who punches a lot, throws punches and bunches. And that jab, yeah, it's gonna take you somewhere, but you have to follow it up with twos and threes, man. You have to throw something behind it, or else Jaime Munguia is just gonna keep coming. Every one you throw, he's gonna throw three, and eventually, you're not gonna be winning the round. So I thought Eric Baziyan had definitely a good showing on the world stage. He showed he can hang with those guys. He belongs. I kind of wish he would have just got the nod, man, but he definitely showed up for Canada. He did a good job, man. He definitely earned some stripes over here for me, especially. I counted him out. I didn't think he'd make it that far in the fight, but Jaime Munguia has troubles with guys with good jabs. So anybody moving forward fighting him, if you have a good jab, man, you got a chance to beat Munguia. Just keep him on the, stay on the outside, keep him at bay, and pick him apart from the outside. It seems like he doesn't know how to get around that jab. He's depending on his youth, which is okay. But what are you gonna do when you fight a masterclass boxer who is very slick at distance and keeps distance? You're gonna have a hard time, man, and you're gonna lose those rounds. And next thing you know, you're gonna find yourself in the quicksand, and those fights are gonna get way harder, man. So I think you know, Munguia should fight a guy like Billy next. And Billy doesn't really present those problems with the jab and the distance. He's coming right forward too. Or Berlanga. Berlanga, I think, and Jaime Munguia will be a good fight. Another Mexican versus Puerto Rico fight. Maybe you go do it in Puerto Rico. Maybe Munguia goes to Puerto Rico, man. You never know, but I think that'd be a good fight. Or I think Plant has just got too much discipline for Munguia right now. I think he beats Munguia and keeps him at bay, makes the adjustments during the fight. Caleb Plant has showed us that championship pedigree. He still has it. Obviously, he just had that win over McCumbee, but maybe him and Munguia have a good fight. Maybe they do, but we'll have to see, man. Because I do believe that Munguia has more to show us. I do believe he's still young enough to get back in the top of that 68 division. It'll just be a matter of time, before he gets there, man. Shout out to Mill City Boxing, bro. What's going on, man? Oh, yo, could jump up here with me one day and just chop it up, brother. Definitely one of the OGs of the game. But yeah, next topics go down. Where we got next? Hamza Shiraz. I've been high on Hamza. I like the way he fights. I like his fighting style. I wanted to see him in a better fight than Tyler Denny, but I also understand the UK fans, man. They do honor their lower belts. They're not like us over here on the West, man. They do honor their Commonwealth belts, their European titles. They care about them. And that's what that fight was. I think it was for the European title. Hamza Shiraz won the European title. They value those titles over there. And because of the top UK fighters holding those titles before, it adds value to those championships. Those championships have been held by Fury, not Connor Ben, Nigel Ben, and Eubank Senior. Like some of the best UK fighters you could think of have held Commonwealth or European titles. So it has value when these guys are coming up through the ranks to go get those titles because of who held them before. And I always say that about the belts, man. It's not really about who gets the belt. It's about who's holding the belt and defending the belt. The belts don't make the fighters really. The fighters make the belts. And we're seeing that right now with Canelo Alvarez. Those other sanctioning bodies, they're not going to strip him because of what the belt means when he has it. But yeah, man, Hamza Shiraz, I do not think he's overrated. I just think he was doing a fight. with Tyler Denny to get that European title because he values it. He's from the UK. They value that title over there. He's got that title. I think going forward, with him being Turkey Al Sheikh's global ambassador on that side of the pond, he will take these tougher fights in the 60-pound division. You got Janibek who's fighting here soon. You got Carlos Adames who doesn't have a dance partner who holds, I think, the WBC title. So maybe they can go after him. I know Janibek has 2 of the titles, and I'm not sure who has the third one or the last one. Sorry. So I'm pretty sure Hamza Shiraz can definitely go after one of the champions and get a belt, man. Just get a belt, bring it back to the UK. There'll be definitely fighters that want to go get that check because the 60 division's pretty light. You got Troy Isley in there, who's definitely got a fight coming up. That guy's talented. Shout out to Troy. Janibek, Carlos Adames, Amber Williams is still in the mix, I think, even though he lost to Hamza. There's a few dudes there. I don't know if Charles Conwell's there. I think Charles Conwell's 54-pounder. But yeah, my point is the 60 division is not as strong as it used to be. It's never really been a strong division for a long time now. So, there's opportunities for Shiraz to go in there and win multiple belts quickly and move up to 68 where, excuse me, it's getting a bit interesting at 68. You got Diego Pacheco who's coming up now. Berlanga is still there. Jaime Munguia is there. And Billy's there. I don't know if Morel or David Benavidez will be coming back. I think they've left the division. They're not coming back in my instinct. Janibek can move up as well. He's had trouble making 160. So 68 is probably going to be that new division. Then obviously the face of boxing is there, Canelo Alvarez. So 168 can be that division for everybody there, for Hamza Shiraz to be really a household name and get his biggest wins at 68. But he can definitely start to build his legacy at 60 and cement it at 68. You know what I mean? And then even 75, he can go up to and win some belts because he's that big. I think he's like 6'2" or 6'3", so he can definitely fill out, man. That's for sure. And then you had the Boatsi, Joshua Boatsi, edges Willie Hutchison. But I don't know if he can beat the other 75-pound elites, man, because Willie Hutchison just gassed out in that fight, you know? Pardon me. That wasn't an instant of where Boatsi just beat up on Hutchison. It was a split decision win for Boatsi. So I don't know if he can beat David Benavidez. I don't know if he can beat David Morrell. I don't know if he can beat Anthony Yard. These are fights that we still got to see. I think they will materialize. They will come through. I just think it's a matter of, hey, man. Let's see what happens here. Moving forward. With Hamza Shiraz and the rest of the division, really, because Joshua Boatsi, he's kind of been just in the mix the whole time. He's never really had an opportunity of this sort. So I don't even know if he's a guy who wants to go fight for the titles of the 175 division. We don't know, man, because he's always just been there, but he's never really got a big fight. He's never really asked for a big fight, it seems like. Even I know he had issues with Matchroom, bounced around a bit. So it's kind of like him getting back on his train to get for a title because he is 30, so he's got to start eyeing up some of these belts and moving up the ranks and getting this the big money. Arthur Beterbiev and Bivol, they got their fight coming up, so the belts are held up. But there's other names at 75 now who can definitely make interesting fights with Boatsi. But I wasn't impressed by his performance, man. I thought Willie Hutchison wasn't that great. I thought he was out of shape. And I thought Boatsi made the fight a little harder than he needed to, but he won, man, and that's what matters, right? Winning is winning. All right, let's keep it rolling. Boots and Bam card, man. We getting a lot of news here. It seems like more and more news is getting dropped on this. But shout out to Bam Jesse Rodriguez, for stepping in to this event and being the co-main. This whole card is just, it's crazy to me to see how this card's materializing, because we heard the Brian Norman Jr. unification belt between Jerron Ennis, and we heard all the money talk and how Eddie Hearn didn't want to pay the extra. And then you look at this event, and I don't know how much money needed for Brian Norman to secure that fight, but I could tell, like, I'm gonna tell y'all that Eddie Hearn is gonna pay almost equivalent to Karen for this fight, because they won the purse bid, right? They won the purse bid, and basically they had the fight. But Eddie Hearn, obviously, he already had the Wells Fargo's booked out, so he already thought he was gonna win the purse bid. This all went wrong for Eddie Hearn, but I could tell you for sure, he's paying more to get this fight over here in Philadelphia. He's gonna probably have to pay the Karen's promoter, or pay for Karen's purse, and they're probably asking for way more money than was in the purse bid. So what I'm trying to say is, I think Eddie Hearn, with all the money he's spending to get this event going, he probably could have gave not Eddie Hearn, Brian Norman Jr. some of that money to get the unification belt and keep it in Philadelphia, all while keeping this card together. Maybe, possibly, maybe not Bam Rodriguez, but you could still have the other guys who have been named, rumored. Raymond Ford moving up to 130. Cleo Cole fighting, and there's another name I heard, not Chalil Hackett. Drawing a blank now, but yeah, Bam Rodriguez is the co-main event. So this card's rounding out to be really, really good event. Oh, Saquon Moses, Shakur's little cousin who beat on Cromwell Mountain in the Nationals, is turning pro with Eddie Hearn on this card matchroom. And my guy, I don't know how, see, the name I forgot is Ernesto Mercado, my dude at 140. Ernesto Mercado is definitely that guy. I mean, I don't usually do this, man, but if there's a dude for y'all to check at 140 who can possibly take over that division, it is Ernesto Mercado. He is the real deal. I'll tell y'all that. I've been watching him on these other cards, Salida promotions. His dad brought in a lot of talent when he was coming up, so he's got a lot of names on his record already. His record is very good. I think he's like 14-0, but the names on there are very good, and he stopped some very, very good fighters. So Ernesto Mercado, when y'all see that name on this Boots card, tune in. He is next at 140. I can guarantee that. And he's one of these dudes. He ain't out here being nice to these guys. He already told Haney he'll knock him out. Tio knock him out. Like, and he's got like a 90-something KO ratio probably. Let me go pull him up, bro. Yeah, man. Probably think I'm boosting about Ernesto Mercado. No, he's got a good record. He just signed with Eddie Hearn, and he never had a major. And that was always his issue. It was like he never had a major, so he never had a backing. But he was always on these cards, man. He was getting on these cards, and now he's getting the opportunity to fight on a big stage. He's gonna definitely get some good fights here, because Eddie Hearn's gonna have to put him in. Even though some people are gonna duck Ernesto Mercado, I could tell y'all that. Not everybody's gonna fight him, but I think he can get a Liam Powell fight. See, here's Ernesto Mercado. He's 16-0 with 15 KOs.
It felt almost like a dream tonight in the ring, and I just had to seize the moment.
Daniel Dubois there. His last fight was on a Salida Promotions card against Hector Santamarita Marinto. Okay, he's 21-2. Stoppage, third round. Daniel Burrell, stoppage, third round. That guy's 22-4. There you go. Jeremiah Nakatelia stopped him in the second. This guy gave Shakur a tough fight, man. Y'all remember him? I'm pretty sure he fought Shakur. Yeah, he fought Burchell too. Yeah, Shakur Stevenson, he lost the decision. Yeah. I'm just saying, man. Ernesto Mercado, he's a great fighter, man. He's definitely somebody we gotta check up on, man. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, but yeah, check him out. But he's also gonna be on this Boots card. So Boots is going against Karen to hold his belt. We'll see how long this takes. This takes Boots, man, because I honestly don't understand why they're not fighting unification belts with with so many more names at 54 where he can get marquee wins. You think if you want to be undisputed at 147, we got to make this a little faster. We got to speed this process up because Mario Barrios is gonna fight on that Jake Paul card in Dallas, Texas. Stanionis, they said he's got fight his mandatory. So Brian Norman Jr. could have been the first step of that, that domino effect. But instead we gotta wait. We gotta see what goes on. And it is what it is, really, man. It's gonna be tough and frustrating, but we'll see how it goes, man. And shout out to Melinda Watpool. She won the WBA International Championship belt this past weekend. Down at the Pickering Casino, as she beat Natasha Spence in a decision win. And shout out to her, man. Big opportunities will be coming ahead. We had her interview, I think last week. So if you want to go check it out on the channel, Boxing Talk Up North, and you'll find it there, Melinda. You'll see her, and she talks about her training regimen and how she changed her strength and conditioning coach. Really, just had a great camp, and she looked good. Did good in the ring. From what I hear, Natasha Spence didn't really have anything for her, and that's good, man, because I think Natasha Spence, she knocked down Shadasia Green in their fight on that Jake Paul and Mike Perry card. So it's a good showing for Melinda. Now she's obviously the number one middleweight female in the world, but hopefully she gets calls to these big events for these big fights. Possibly fight for a title here in the coming months or next fight. That'd be nice, but we're all rooting for Melinda over here for sure, as she represents the Canadian family and does a great job of doing that. We still can't I won't forget about it, man. I won't stop talking about it. The potential fight of the year, Arthur Beterbiev versus Dmitry Bivol. I don't remember the last. Maybe I should look that up. Last undisputed champ at light heavyweight. I don't know who it was. Huh. Michael Spinks? Maybe. It probably was Michael Spinks. Michael Spinks had a good run at light heavyweight. He was probably the best light heavyweight in the world. Probably still is by measure. But Michael Spinks was the last undisputed light heavyweight champ. Okay. All right. Michael Spinks. So, I mean, these guys are definitely trying to break barriers just like Usyk and Fury did. Lennox Lewis was the last undisputed, heavyweight champion of the world. So these guys are definitely trying to fall in that same category of rebirthing the history and writing something new in the books. And, Dmitry Bivol and Arthur Beterbiev, two incredible talents, man. They've been on a collision course for like years. And they both said it out their mouths. This fight would have never happened without Turki Al-Sheikh. The both sides didn't want to give up the lion's share of the pot. So, that's a good thing about Turki Al-Sheikh. He comes in and he erases the money problem. That's kind of the problems that we see of why these fights don't get made. It's because of money. But when you have a guy who just wants to see the best fights, just wants the best fighters, and wants them to compete at the highest level possible, that's a blessing, man, for us boxing fans, because we're gonna get to see the fights we want to see. And now he's even making it cheaper at $20 a pay-per-view. So I don't even know what the situation and status is with the pay-per-view of this event, because from what I was told was the Arthur Beterbiev and Bivol fight. Just that fight alone was going to be free on ESPN Plus because that's where that's his network, and Bob Arum doesn't really do pay-per-views. So it was going to be free on there, but you had to pay for the Shakur portion, which, before he got injured, he was pretty much headlining, from the card down, which is Shakur Stevenson, Eubank Jr., Sky Nicholson. Who else was on that card? Ben Whitaker. Yep. So I mean, they were supposed to have a pay-per-view portion for that side of the event, which I never really stood because you're having like two separate events now. And, what are people gonna watch? Like most people are like, I just want to watch the main event. Obviously, I want to see how Shakur Stevenson was gonna look against Joe Cordina. But at the end of the day, it don't make sense for me to buy that pay-per-view if I'm gonna be not buying, but if I'm gonna be watching an undisputed fight for free. Like, you're giving me the best fight for free, but I gotta pay for all the filler. Like, I don't know. It just was an odd way of going about it. I don't know who made that decision. I don't even know if that decision still stands now that Shakur Stevenson is out. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they do with that event on October 12th. Arthur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. It's gonna be a 50-50 fight. I think it'll be fight of the year, possibly. I think we're going to see a lot of drama, man. I think it's going to be a good event. I think it's going to be great. Shout out to both men for stepping up despite the injuries that pushed back the fight. They're still going to go ahead with it. And, I just hope they put on a hell of a show and it doesn't turn into a boring fight because I've really been looking forward to this one. Myself, a lot of other boxing fans, hardcore fans. This is a great fight, man. This is a great fight on paper. Stylistically, this is what you want to see. One guy's a very hard downhill puncher. The other guy's an incredible masterclass boxer who can move around the ring. You want to see if the power puncher can definitely run the other guy into something. So, I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see how it all unfolds on October 12th and what the status is with the pay-per-views. But I'm enjoying boxing right now, man. I'm enjoying it. What about y'all? And y'all, shout out to Joshua Frazier and Ricardo Brown. They back in action on October 19th, man. Down at the Grand Canadian Casino down there in Woodbine and Rexdale. Another great event by United Promotions. Mark Smitter is in the main event. Shout out to him. That guy's a great boxer. And, he always brings the fans out, man. Shout out to Mark Smitter. Definitely a talent.
Shakur Stevenson. Yeah.
But yeah, Joshua back in camp right now. Super welterweight. 11-0, going for his 12th win. He's got 7 knockouts, man. So we're doing big things, man. And then Ricardo Brown, he stopped all his opponents. I think he's 11-0, 11 KOs, stopped all his opponents. Never seen the final bell, so he's in Las Vegas right now. Getting mentorship from James Toney, understanding the heavyweight game and getting some good sparring, hopefully. But Las Vegas trips are always good for the guys, to get that experience to be in the pedigree of professional fighters, man.
Shakur Stevenson. Yeah.
And to really, really see where you are and to really elevate your level, man. Because everybody's trying to get to that Floyd level.
This kid don't got a chance in hell.
But we'll see, man. We'll see what he could do. Shout out to Ricardo Brown, the big heavyweight, Big 12, and Joshua Frazier back in action October 19th on the United Promotions card in Toronto, Canada, Rexdale. And y'all go get your tickets, man, on Ticketmaster.
Shakur Stevenson. Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to everybody, man. It's kind of a recap show, pretty much. Definitely a lot of news coming out lately. Obviously, Daniel Dubois shooking up the world. Shout out to him. Frank Warren. I can't wait for Rider season, that Fury and Usyk card to get announced, because I feel like Turkey Al-Sheikh is gonna load us up right before Christmas, man. He's gonna give us something special, I think. You cannot complain with the events he's been throwing on and what he's been meaning to boxing lately, because a lot of people are hesitant about him because he's bringing these fights to Saudi Arabia. But y'all have to understand, man, this boxing thing is a global sport. You know, when you look at the amateurs, they fight everywhere. They fight everywhere, man. The amateurs. They just don't fight one spot. They travel everywhere. Matter of fact, they do more traveling in Europe than they do probably in the West, man, for amateur boxing. So uh boxing's a global sport. It's beautiful when it's global, man. You got AJ who can draw 90,000 people. You got Inoue who can draw 50,000 people in Japan. And then you see the love that these guys get when they come home. Bacoli's got the whole Congo at the airport waiting for him. You got Zhang. He's getting big welcomes when he gets home to China after his win against Wilder. Us as fans, we have to understand that just because boxing is not a major sport in the West because of the other sports we have, man, it is still globally a big sport, you know. And Turkey Al-Sheikh is trying to make big events. He's trying to make Super Bowl events. And he's done a great job. You know, I thought the BMO Stadium, the Crawford and the Madrimov one was great. Obviously, this one we just saw 90,000 people. That's magnificent, man. You can't doubt that. You can't put that down. That's a huge draw. 90,000 people bought tickets. And then yeah, I can't wait to see the next one in December, which is in Rider season. Fury and Usyk. Sorry, the next one is Dimitri Bivol and Better Beef. And then after that in December, Fury and Usyk rematch. I'm sure that one's gonna be a movie again. I'm sure the card will be stacked to the ceiling. And this is what we love to see, man, in boxing. We like to see the fights that we want to see, the competition, you know, everything that comes with it. Because you can get a Daniel Dubois moment at any time, and the upset that happens. Lucas Body did it earlier this year by getting a huge knockout, potential knockout of the year. You know, Daniel Dubois does it this past weekend, and you just see what it does, man. This is what keeps us coming back to watching the sport. This is what keeps us involved in the sport because it's being shooken up, and that's fine. I love it when it's like this. I love it when there's a little bit of drama, a little bit of controversy. It makes things up. You know, you don't have the same guys winning all the time. And guys are taking risks now that Turkey Al-Sheikh is involved. Guys are taking risk. They are fighting better competition when they get on those cards, and we're seeing a lot of upsets. We're seeing a lot of things we never seen before. Guys who look dominant are not looking dominant now. I think David Morrell is definitely an example of that, and it's been great, man. Shout out to boxing. Shout out to everybody that tuned in. I appreciate y'all. Make sure you smash the like button, share, subscribe, show the boy love. Really appreciate everybody tuning in. And we'll be back later this week. Peace.